All right, bonus uncut episode. We got Bingo, Chris Guy, PK Herc, and PK Herc wanted to ask Mr. Chris Guy a question.
Yeah, so during the first lockdown, I seen that you were traveling when your Instagram was up, I seen that you went through the airport. So just walk us through that whole, I'm not like being tested situation.
Okay, I can give you from the get-go. So say you're coming back from an international country. So if you're going to an international country, you got to check that country's entry requirements. If you're not a citizen or a permanent resident of that country, you're subject to their entry requirements. Some countries like Canada now require a vaccine. Very few do. Most will require a test or some type of quarantine. So look at what the country requires and you got to do that. Now, coming back as a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, if they tell you to book the hotel quarantine, you can get around that quite easily because it's an illegal thing for them to tell you to do. You can type in government approved quarantine hotels Canada. The website will come up with a list of all the government approved quarantine hotels. Click on any of those and book it well in advance. They tell you to wait 48 hours before. That's insane because everything's going to be sold out and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. You can book it as far in advance as you know where your dates are going to be.
Okay.
On top of that, they have the normal room rate and then they have the government approved quarantine rate. And it's a lot more, and they charge you the full amount up front, as opposed to no deposit, and then you can cancel. When you book it, you get a confirmation. I tried and I booked the government approved rate just to see, and when you get the confirmation, it doesn't tell you which rate you booked. It just tells you the hotel and the confirmation. So you can book a normal room, normal rate at that hotel, get the confirmation number, and then immediately cancel the room, not get charged a cent. Go to the airport, show them the confirmation number, they'll let you on the plane. Now when you land in Canada, they tell you and you're gonna have to take a test to get on the plane. If you're in a country like Mexico, I've heard, you can acquire a negative COVID test for even cheaper than it costs to take a test.
That's crazy.
And in other countries, or even in Canada, if you need to take a test, they have what they call a saliva PCR test in a lot of places where you can just spit in a cup so they don't stick anything up your nose or down your throat. So once you're on the plane, you land in Canada, they try telling you that they want you to take a test and they want you to go to the hotel quarantine. You simply say you're a Canadian citizen and you're declining both. There's nothing they can do but give you a ticket for each. And now they made the tickets $5,000 plus tax each. So it comes up to, she got $13,000 in fines when she came home for declining both. But none of those are going to go to court. None of those are going to cost any money. And she just got to go home. And then if you're worried about the 14-day quarantine when you're at home, they can come to your house. Yes, it's true. They can call your house. They can email you. But you're not obligated to answer or talk to them because you haven't committed a crime. They have no probable cause. They have no warrant. So they're basically coming as what they call a public wellness check. So they can knock on the door. If you're not there, you're obviously not going to answer. But even if you are there and you don't answer, all they can do is put a little sign on the door saying, oh, we came to check on you. And then they try to tell you got to take another test when you're at home, and they try to threaten you and say you can't come out of your house until you do. That's a lie. After the 14 days, they can't even call you anymore. So people don't have to quarantine if they don't want to. And if they do catch you out and about, the only thing they can really do is give you an $800 fine, one of those stupid fines that you can beat in court. The only way you have to quarantine is if you test positive. If you tested positive, if you submitted to a test, it could be a false positive, it doesn't matter. At that point, you have to assume you have the virus. Now, if you breach quarantine, it's called breaching isolation. And when they tell you can get a $750,000 fine or you can go to jail, that's what they're talking about. Because now you know you're sick and you're going out and getting other people sick. It's called willfully endangering the public. That's a criminal charge. So there it is. And that's all people need to know. So you can travel. And you don't need the vaccine to travel to 99% of countries. So all the people that are saying they're getting the vaccine to travel, it's unnecessary. Most of the countries, I'm going to Italy next month. Italy requires a PCR test, like most of the countries do when you go, and I can do the saliva one. And once you show them the PCR test, you don't even have to quarantine. So why would you get a jab when you can spit in a cup?
Anyway, just been facts, man.
Okay, so one more. So what about so they remembered, there was like a golf course where the cops they watched people play golf and it was like a lockdown or whatever, and then they ticketed the people when they were coming out, and then the response was to redact the ticket and mail it back. So would that work with any of these COVID fines?
The best thing to do is just file an intent to appear at trial. And if everybody does that, they overwhelm the system, which is exactly what's happened now because thousands and thousands of Canadians have been declining the hotel quarantine. So now when they give you the ticket, your court date is from over 2 years from now and the ticket is invalid anyway. So we got to the point where they can't even find anybody because there's so many tickets in court. It goes to the same ticket as traffic court. So those are already backed up like crazy. So I'm telling you guys, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all fear based on your compliance. And as soon as people unite and don't comply, unite in non-compliance, this ends. It can end overnight. And then we can hold these people accountable, and then we can rebuild our country in a way where we can have literally like a golden era for generations.
Yeah, and you know what? Backing up to what you said about you can get a cheap little one there in Mexico, we got a place in Canada and it's called Montreal. You buy one, you get two free.
Yo, man, that's Bingo. PK, thank you for the question. Chris Guy, thank you for stopping through.
My pleasure, guys.
6 Views Uncut Extras.
6 Views Uncut. 6 Views Uncut.